Grand Solar Flash Update for December 12th, 2024. Pay attention. New Jersey drones mystery may possibly mean the end of 3D Earth as we know it. I am going to go into depth of all of the possible ramifications of this, so stay tuned. I've got one list I'm going to get through of the causes, another list of results that could happen, and a third list of amazing possible results. It's very important that you stay for the whole video. This could be one of the most important videos, if not maybe the turning point. Now, maybe not, but the more that this drone mystery continues to drone on, as it were, it starts to create more and more very serious possible repercussions from this. And it's really got my attention now. So I'm going to get into all of that with you. And I think that the end result is going to be very positive for the human race. And the other question is, what part do you have to play in this? What is this creating that we who are seeking to create the new Awakening Ascension event, how can we capitalize on this and bring the 5D Ascension even faster than it would normally come? We're going to talk about all those things in this video today. As always, the best way to get through this crazy world we're living in now is to question your reality. ThunderWizard.com is the website that supports this channel. Please go there, look at all of the ways that you can subscribe and impact your own ascension. Also check out the shop. That's where you can get the most advanced spiritual practices in the history of planet Earth. I make those available to you. You can also go and check out my books at michaelwilliamdenny.com. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to support.thunderwizard.com and simply watch the video there and follow the directions. Most important thing you can do is to go to these live guided interdimensional meditations that we have every Wednesday and Saturday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The single most powerful thing any human can be doing in order to destroy the dark forces and bring about the Ascension event. All right, so let's get back to this. New Jersey drones mystery. The more I think about it, look at that AI created look on my face. I'm looking younger but so pensive about what is happening. And I also have a mustache, which of course I can't tell AI to get rid of. But this is a very, very important, this could be like the pivotal. This could be the pivotal event that shifts us forward. Look, whenever something like this happens, let's just start from a place of neutrality and not knowing. Regardless of who's behind these drones, and there's not just drones, there's also a lot of videos of very strange lights that are acting exactly like many extraterrestrial sightings. Lights that aren't acting like crafts. They morph and do all kinds of crazy things and morph into ships and then into balls of light again. So to have something like this happen for weeks, every night in one place, this is designed. So the question is whether or not it is done by humans or whether it is done by some non-human force. Either way, somebody is trying to get our attention. And So we need to pay attention to this, because this isn't coming from nowhere. If it's coming from someplace outside of Earth, it means that, depending on how you look at extraterrestrials, it may mean an invitation to open contact, which of course would completely change everything. If it's not an invitation to open contact, then it could mean something much more nefarious and much more frightening to human beings. If it is not from outside of Earth, if it is coming from Earth, then it means that some powerful agency on Earth is trying to get our attention. And to put yourself out there like that, you don't do that unless you're fully committed to accomplishing something. So the more that this goes on, and the more that I take a look at it and think about it, the more I start to think that we need to pay attention, and we need to have critical thinking about this, and we need to interact with this spiritually. If it's extraterrestrials saying that they're ready to have open contact, then we need to be spiritually ready for that. If it's something else, then we need to have our wits about us, and we need to have our ability to intend our reality through our meditations in order to prevent something perhaps negative. So I'm realizing that I have to get out of my little bubble, because when I saw all this, it didn't faze me in any direction, because I've had my experience, extensive experience with extraterrestrials. So yeah, I mean, at some point that's going to happen. There's going to be that many extraterrestrial crafts flying in and out of Earth. Question is, when is that going to happen? It's already happening on a higher dimensional level. I've experienced it and seen enough to know that that's what's going on. So you could show me the most absolutely mind-blowing videos of, if they were, fleets of extraterrestrial ships, and it wouldn't faze me. I'm already interacting with them. So, but that's not everybody else's experience. So I have to get out of my bubble and realize that a lot of people are perhaps really either flipped out or freaking out or extremely interested in what's going on, because it's outside of their realm of reality. And so there's two, like I said, there's two major possibilities. It's either extraterrestrial or it's human. Those are the only two options. And the level of interaction that is happening means that it's very significant, whatever it is. So we're going to get into that. Let's get into list number one here. So New Jersey drone mystery may mean end of 3D. 4 possible causes of the New Jersey drone activity. Number 1, extraterrestrials are making open contact. I already talked about that. If that's what's going on, then everything is going to change. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. I personally do not believe this is how open contact is going to happen. Based on where the world is at, the consciousness of the world, what's going on, all of the wars, all of that, and what I know, by the way, what I know of the unacknowledged programs, military programs that are currently at war with all extraterrestrials and all of the. By the way, in case you want to know what I'm talking about, please go to Dr. Stephen Greer's website, Greer. He's got a new movie that's coming out about disclosure. Watch that. Get yourself educated on all of his whistleblowers and everything associated with that. I'm not going to put the time into that on this channel, because if I do, it's going to start opening up a can of worms, and I need to keep my channel on YouTube, so I'm not going to go there. But you should go check out his material to know what I'm talking about. All right, so either extraterrestrials are making open contact, and again, I'm saying I doubt that. I don't think that's what's going on. But I'm totally, totally happy to be wrong about that. In fact, I'd be thrilled to be wrong about that. That could mean that the ETs are saying, hey guys, we need to stop, the destruction of this planet. Hello, we're here. Hello, we're making a show so that you can pay attention to us. That is a real possibility as well. I personally am not leaning towards that, but I'm open to it. Possible cause number 2, U.S. military government technology is surveilling us. So a lot of people have this feeling. That's the conclusion that they're coming to, because people aren't calling them UFOs. People aren't calling them spaceships. People are calling them drones. So a drone is a human-made craft used for surveillance and or military operations. So the fact that the average person looking up in the sky seeing these are calling them drones means that the majority of people think it's probably our government, or on the outside some other government outside of the US. But this is happening in different parts of the world, and we're just not hearing about it. I am hearing about it because people are letting me know it's happening in other parts of the world, these drones. And of course these drones are not the size of drones, they're the size of large automobiles, like buses and cars. They're enormous. So that's what's messing people up. If people saw the drones, it would be one thing, but drones the size of cars, nobody believes that exists. They're not aware of it. So when they see it, their first thought is this has to be military. So anyway, let's keep going. So second possible cause is U.S. military government technology surveilling us, because that's what it would mean. Why are they surveilling us? There's the threat of military action. I heard about one guy who, there was a drone over his house, and he put his drone up into the air, and when the drone got up to where the drone was, there was some issues and I guess some really weird footage, and his drone was neutralized, and then out of nowhere his YouTube channel got shut down. So that's very very suspicious right there. But anyway, that's just a story. I don't know that for a fact. So second cause is possible causes that the U.S. military or government is surveilling us. Third possible cause is foreign adversaries are invading U.S. airspace. So people are asking that. Some people are saying that Iran has some mothership out in the ocean that's launching these things. Let's just stop there for a second. So you're telling me that there's a foreign ship out in the Atlantic Ocean that is big enough to launch squadrons of car-sized drones, and you're telling me that U.S. surveillance hasn't picked up on this? Ridiculous. Of course that's not the case. If there was a ship, look, here's the biggest problem with all of this. When I go and watch news channels and they're saying something along the lines of, we don't know what this is and what could this be, and nobody is just being, having basic understanding of how things work. Everybody's an idiot all of a sudden, because we would know if there was planes coming from another country, NORAD would pick up on it, and the U.S. Air Force would go and engage. So why isn't that the first thing that pops into people's heads? Because that's the first thing that popped into my head. So there are giant car-like aircraft flying around in a suspicious way, a very obvious way. And you're telling me that NORAD hasn't picked up on it and the U.S. Air Force hasn't flown to engage. And then we've got, according to the news media, they're saying that the military installations in the area don't have authority to shoot them down. What are you talking about? Of course they do. That's the whole point of the military. The whole point of the military is to shoot down invaders. Try taking your Cessna and flying over Area 51 and see how long that lasts. Try driving into Area 51. So you're telling me that New Jersey is not a priority, that the whole state of New Jersey is not a priority for the United States government, that, oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff over there, and NORAD and the Air Force are going, oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff flying around there, but what are we going to do? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely preposterous. But it's part of a scenario that I can imagine if somebody wanted to confuse and frighten you. This would be a way to do it. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't have any proof of anything. I don't have any working theory of anything. I'm just asking questions. All right, so number 3 possible cause is that foreign adversaries are invading U.S. airspace, which is, of course, absolutely ridiculous. Again, if that were really happening, it would just, they'd be shot out of the sky, period, end of story. All right. Another cause is that so I'm going to address, I said 4 possible causes, but I really only meant 3. So the first cause, extraterrestrials are making open contact. ETs have nothing to gain by this exhibition. And it's an exhibition. It's happening in one place. It's happening in a huge way. And it's happening every night for weeks. It's clear that this is a show that is meant to get our attention. This is an exhibition. You're supposed to stop and gawk at it. You're supposed to talk about it on the news. You're supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to talk about it. Whoever's behind this wouldn't do this if they didn't want the population to get together and talk about whatever this is. My experience with extraterrestrials is they have nothing to gain by doing this. It's just not how they function. It's not how they work. Most likely explanation is based on government response. So that's a very roundabout way of me telling you. If you really want to know what's going on, look at how the government is responding. The government is doing nothing. It's sitting on its hands, saying, I don't know. I don't know what that's not how the U.S. government responds. If it truly was something that they didn't know what it was, they would be going, this is a very serious issue, and we are on top of this. We have sent out helicopters. We're engaging these drones. We don't know what it is yet, but we are on top of it. We're not ready for military action yet, but the moment that's what the military would say if they truly didn't know. What this I mean, we didn't even hear from the government. And what the heck is the FBI doing investigating aircraft? Since when does the FBI investigate aircraft? Because we're talking, these are drones the size of buses, the size of cars. You stop calling it a drone. It's an aircraft. It's an unmanned military surveillance, perhaps, something worse, aircraft. This idea that like these drones are in some, it's in some weird category, it's not, we don't know because it's different. We don't know what the heck it is. Is it a flock of birds? They're acting like they're just complete idiots. So it's obvious that when the government isn't doing anything about something this obvious, it means that they're well aware of it. And it indicates, I don't know this for a fact, but it indicates that they are approving of it. So if that's the case, that should tell you what this is. Maybe I'm wrong. So the most likely explanation is based on how the government is responding. Number 3, if the U.S. military suspected this, the military defense response would be swift and devastating. I already said that. That is obvious. It's absolutely obvious. So the fact that they're not is extremely suspicious. All right, let's keep going. So New Jersey drone mystery may mean end of 3D. List number 2, 4 possible results of the drone mystery. Number 1, if we freak out, then we have the Project Bluebeam false flag scenario. So that theory, which is all that it is, it's completely untested, unproven. I'm just thinking outside of the, I'm just thinking a possibility. That theory would mean that this is a test. That this is a test to see how people react. So, hypothetically speaking, let's say that people were freaking out saying these were aliens invading. And the next thing you knew, everybody was talking about the alien invasion. If that was a response that people were having, assuming that it wasn't alien, that's an assumption, it's a possibility, hypothetically speaking, assuming that the drone mystery is not an alien invasion, but people are reacting to it as though it is because they don't recognize these crafts, then the tinfoil hat wearing crowd would then conclude that this is a test to see how well the Project Bluebeam conspiracy theory how well it would go over. Because in order for that to happen, people would have to believe it was aliens. So if people don't believe it's aliens, assuming this is just hypothetically, I'm talking, if that were hypothetically the case, and people believed it was aliens, then that would lay the groundwork for, yeah, we can pull this off. They're going to totally believe it. They'll do whatever we say. And then, one world government shoving you into little things. Then they could actually, according to this theory, attack you and make you think it's aliens. All right, so if we freak out, the alien invasion false flag. Number 2. Number 2 possible result of this mystery is that this will force disclosure of secret space program technology. So, again, Dr. Stephen Greer has whistleblowers that will go on and on telling you the nature of the technology that our military, the unacknowledged arm of the military has, that they have not disclosed to us. So this, again, if that's the case, if it is done by an unacknowledged form of the U.S. government, they are really putting themselves out there because they can't pull this back. They can't put this, back in the can. The cat is out of the bag. It's not going back in. So they're going to have to do something with it. They're going to have to spin it in some way. And so whenever you take that big of a risk, whenever you show your hand to that degree, you're taking a risk. So if this is a Hail Mary, then you're saying that there's a possibility you could lose this game. So this, again, is something to be aware of, because if that's true, and there are such, unacknowledged forces running around, and if that's the case, they've made themselves completely, totally seen. Because now everybody's, there's a huge amount of people walking around going, so the military has technology we have never seen before. This is secret technology. It's now out of the bag. So those are the only, either this is U.S. military technology, it's foreign human technology, or it's alien technology. Those are the only 3 possible options. And if you were, I'm not saying anybody is, but if they did have hidden secret military technology, the last thing you want is for people to know that you have it. When you're showing everybody every single night for weeks that you have it, it means that you're on your last legs, and this is your last ditch effort in the hopes that you can make this work in your favor. So if that's the case, it means that they are setting themselves up for huge scrutiny that will completely backfire on them. Unless it's something else I haven't thought of. So, number 2 possible result is the forced disclosure of secret space program tech. Number 3, the forced disclosure of government cover-up of peaceful extraterrestrials. So, the so-called whistleblowers that are showing up on mainstream media talking and have been talking, again, you see how they've been talking about this for a long time. These, the Luis Elizondo and his ilk and David Grush have been talking about that there is reverse engineered technology that has come from this secret extraterrestrial crashed UFO retrieval program, which of course there is no such thing. According to other people like Dr. Stephen Greer, all of the downed extraterrestrial craft have been shot down. They haven't crashed. So that's not a retrieval program, that is a war. You're taking prisoners and you're taking technology, you're stealing technology from your enemy. So that would mean, if that's the case, which I don't have any proof that it is, some people say that this is the case. If that is the case, then this would then potentially provoke an investigation that would figure that out, because, they're clearly trying to get people's attention. And it's gotten to the point now where, people are calling the FBI and reporting sightings to the FBI en masse, and that governors are talking about it, and that there's congressional meetings in the House of Representatives. That kind of theater means that somebody doesn't want this hidden. Somebody doesn't want this going away. And if it is a false flag operation, that means that in order for that to work, you have to believe the lie that's being presented to you. If you don't believe the lie that's presented to you, meaning if the entire population doesn't believe it, then you put yourself in a position of being discovered. So I find it very convenient, the timing very convenient, that right as we're in this in-between administrations, and within weeks, President Trump and his administration, which have put themselves out there that we're gonna find out all of the lies and the garbage and we're gonna get rid of it. That if there were a secret, hidden, unacknowledged branch of the government, they would be in serious danger. And so if they've got their back to the wall and they've got nothing left to lose, see what I mean? It's just all very suspicious. The timing of it, everything is very suspicious to me. I don't know what it means, but it's important, because this is indicative of a massive shift in one direction or another. That can't be denied. There's a massive shift coming, and this is evidence of that. Could be the end of the so-called unacknowledged programs. It could be the end of those. Or it could be, if we don't pay attention, they could take over and rule everything. Depends on which movie you want to watch. So, forced disclosure of government cover-up of peaceful extraterrestrials. So, again, what you're being told by the so-called whistleblowers is that aliens do exist and that they are a threat. You've been hearing that over and over again. Tic Tacs are a threat to our airspace. What happens if ETs invade? What are we going to do? So you're being primed to believe that. Every single movie that's out there that gets made by Hollywood, which is, according to some people, run by these same group of dark force elites, you're being propagandized into believing that extraterrestrials are evil. Now, my experience with extraterrestrials is that they are the angels, they are the gods, they are the demigods, they are the messengers. They live in a very beautiful spiritual state, and they have always been there, and they represent where we came from. That Earth is not base reality. It is a third dimensional video game, and souls from the same dimension that extraterrestrials exist at. They all exist in these higher dimensional levels of living in heaven and truth. Your ancestors who have passed away, they live in those higher dimensions with the extraterrestrials that are coming to Earth. So the awakening of humans to that truth would, in and of itself, completely destroy all the way that this world works. There would be no more need for governments. There would be no more need for banks. There would be no more need for jobs. There would be no more need for any of that, because with people were having a continuous spiritual awakening and a connection to spirit on that level, nobody would be thinking about how I can make money, how I need to get over on somebody else. Nobody's going to be thinking like that. And nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody's going to pay their taxes. Nobody's going to go to work. People are going to stay at home and, grow their own food, and they'll have 0 point energy. They can create anything that they want, and they won't need to go and work a bunch of money to pay off the bank and pay taxes and pay the electric company and the gas company and put gas. They wouldn't need any of that. So it would completely, totally destroy our civilization, which is a petroleum-based economy. That's why there's this hubbub about the petroleum dollar no longer being the US dollar. That's why that's such a big deal, because the entire world economy is based on petroleum. Once you get rid of the need for petroleum because you have 0 point energy, which is what extraterrestrials, their craft runs on, you don't need to pay to survive anymore, which is how we live. People are homeless. Not because there's a lack of food, not because I'm living where, the housing neighborhood where I live. There are empty houses all over the place. There's no shortage of houses. So there are homeless people that are homeless, not because there aren't houses for them to live in, and not because there isn't energy or electricity or food. There's no shortage of any of that. They're not allowed to have access to it, because they don't have the money. Even some, as there are homeless people who have full-time jobs who can't afford to rent. I know, because I've been going through this process. I was lucky to find an owner, instead of going through one of these rental companies, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I found an owner who wanted to rent to me directly and was willing to give me a lease and all that, and I didn't have to go through all that. Because my credit is shot. My credit is gone. Because I've stopped paying my credit cards, and I'm in negotiation to pay those off, and which means your credit goes down the tubes, and I don't have any credit cards or anything like that. So, I tried. I looked into moving into the house next door, but they were going to make me jump through so many hoops that it was impossible. So I know from personal experience that this is a real thing. And so the whole point is that people knew the truth of extraterrestrials. All of that garbage goes away. Poverty goes away, hunger goes away, lack of education, all of all that stuff goes out the window. And they know that. So here's one of the results that could come as a result of that, assuming that this isn't what it appears to be, if you're being lied to about what this is. The forced disclosure of government cover-up of peaceful extraterrestrials that's been going on for over 100 years. The fourth possible result of the mystery is the declaration of martial law, which would be a distraction to the incoming administration. Again, the timing of this is very convenient and suspicious, because depending on how this goes, all it would take, again, I'm just talking hypothetically. I have no idea what the drones are. I have no idea what they are. I'm just talking hypothetically. Hypothetically, if, let's say, there were some dark force humans that wanted to create a false flag scenario, all they'd have to do is, have some kind of a weapon on one of these drones, and oops, if it turns into something more than just pretty lights in the sky and it turns into something worse than that, then all of a sudden you're going to see the military all of a sudden stand up, and they're now out of nowhere going to want to be in force involved in this. And they're going to tell you, you can't leave your house, you can't go to work. It's going to be the scenario times 100. And that would be very sad. That's why how people react to this is extremely important. My suggestion is to not react. Because if you don't give a crap, because so far, they're just flying around. They're not doing anything. That happens every day. There are planes flying all over the place. We're being monitored and surveilled by, not just by planes, but by satellites. I mean, so big deal. So what? That should be people's response. So what? As long as they're not bothering me, what do I care? That should be our response to this. But that is one possibility, a declaration of martial law. This would distract the incoming administration. Bear in mind, the incoming administration is looking to clean house, looking to drain the swamp. That means we've got people going in there to look at all of the money that's being spent. Wait till they find out that trillions of dollars are unaccounted for. And wait till they start following that trail. Guess what they're going to find? They're going to find where that money went to, which could be building of drones the size of buses. And then when that happens, it's going to be the end of them. So this is a very potentially frightening distraction. If they wanted to make it look like something that it wasn't, then perhaps Biden, before he leaves, could step in, declare martial law, and lock everything down, and this would be a huge distraction. If people are more flipped out about getting hit with an alien ray gun than they are about cleaning house in the government, then that distraction would give them more time to create something else. I'm just talking out loud here. Maybe this is just my imagination, and I'm thinking of some kind of dystopian science fiction movie that needs to be written. Maybe this has nothing to do with what's going on. But we have to accept this without knowing anything. This is a possibility without knowing what's going on. All right, so the last one is this could be a false flag for war with Iran, China, and Russia, because people are asking. Some people were saying that this was an Iranian military operation. And so obviously, there's been talk of war with Iran. There's been talk of war with Syria. There's already a war going on in the Middle East and of course there's, the war in Ukraine. So there's plenty of wars going on, and people are itching to, there's always been factions in government that want to go to war. So again, possible this could be just a justification for that. If, let's say, somebody were lying to you, wanting to go to war with Iran, and if they created a false flag operation to convince people, if there was this uproar among the people, we won't stand for this. Iran is attacking us with these, or they're surveilling us with these. Could be that. I don't know that. Probably isn't. Why would our government do such a thing? But that we have to accept that that's a possibility. All right, the next list. Now here's what I really think. So regardless, here's regardless. As I said earlier, this is so huge. I mean, the ramifications of this are enormous. If this only happened, let's say, for 1 or 2 days, it would be one of those, well, I wonder what that was, strange lights in the sky. Every night for weeks, and huge numbers of them. Drones the size of cars and buses. Again, this indicates some major shift is coming. Either it means that things are much worse than we think, and the truth of the dark forces are now upon us and we see their true intentions, or it means that that there are beings that live in other planets, and this is undeniable. And the response to this is going to be hugely transformative in one direction or another. The third option is somebody trying to put one over on us, and we're not buying it. And the awakening that happens forces them to reveal themselves in such a way where they lose all of their power. Either way, it's going to be huge. So the possible 5D ascension results of this create suspicion that Park's investigation of the deep state. That would be very interesting. Number 2, people become aware of the existence of actual extraterrestrials. So I'm pretty sure there are people, regardless of what's behind all this, that there are people who are wondering if ETs exist, who weren't wondering that yesterday. Now, I have to say there's a possibility, we've gotten to the point where this could be humans. It might not be from our government. It might not be from evil, dark forces. It might be, who knows where it could come from, but even civilians have the technology now. I mean, if you go look for it, you can find how incredibly sophisticated the hologram technology is that we have. I mean, you can be presented a hologram of whales jumping up out of the water and you would believe it. You've seen this. This has been shown all over. If you look for it, you'll see it. So it's not completely outside of the realm of believability that somebody, I'm not saying who, somebody could have the technology to be projecting this into the sky. It's absolutely a possibility. So this could create enough suspicion that sparks investigation of whatever. Number 2, people become aware of the existence of actual ETs. This could spark a desire for people to start doing what I've been doing CE5, doing the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocols. This could provoke the ability for Stephen Greer and his team to actually go in and have real congressional hearings with real witnesses and real disclosure, which would, the end result of that would be that there would be proof, there would be scientific proof that extraterrestrials do exist and they're not what you've seen in movies. They are something completely different and that they are completely non-threatening. This would completely change society. It would destroy religion. That knowledge in and of itself would completely destroy religion as we know it. So that's one possibility that could come of this, and that would, again, bring what we call 5D. The knowledge of the true nature of human soul occurs. Again, that would be the end result of that, because once you start understanding what extraterrestrials are, you understand the nature of higher dimensional existence, and you go beyond the need for duality, which would mean that you understand that you are a soul that is eternal. There would be no more doubt about the afterlife. There would be no more doubt about the existence of the soul, because the technology that extraterrestrials have is directly associated with the quantum field consciousness. And so these would no longer be theories of physics. These would be a reality, because that's what drives their experience, their spirituality, their technology, and we would have direct experience of that just by being introduced to the existence of actual extraterrestrials. 4, it would cause a snowball effect of disclosure of all of the 3D lies. So that would be the end, like I said. I mean, pick any, there's so many ways that it would create that. One, again, would be the awareness of 0-point energy and the awareness of the suppression of this knowledge. I can remember as a kid in the 80s, when just one guy, and there's been many others, but just one guy had figured out a way to create an engine that ran on water and created that the only pollution it released was oxygen. And there was a news story about it, and I remember I was waiting to hear about what happened next, and he disappeared. He just, one day he was there, the next day he was gone. And I found out later that, when he actually went public with it and went on to the local news channel and proved people that he had this technology, he was dead. And his last words were, "Oh my God, they poisoned me." So, and he's only one of who knows how many people have discovered zero-point technology. And once that becomes released, and the technology, all it takes is one person who has this technology to release it on the internet. And, there'd be enough people there would be too many people to snuff out. And then pretty soon everybody would have it again. Then the whole petroleum-based technology would crash. But the end result is, all the people benefiting, the banks, the petroleum companies that have all the money, they would be broke, but we would have all of the resources. And that's the whole point of money. The whole point of money is to get resources. Once you have resources, you don't need money anymore. So this is one possibility that could come from this. So the snowball effect of disclosure of all the 3D lies. 5, the massive awakening results in 5D ascension events. So this could, let me see, what did I said? The massive awakening results in the 5D ascension events. So once we have enough people who are awakened to the level that myself and those of you who are doing the practices you've connected with these higher dimensional energies, and you see life completely differently. You're awakened to the reality of what the soul is and who we are and all of that. Once you get enough people at that level, then that will create a complete shift in the entire consciousness of the entire world. There will be that instant ascension event just as a result of the consciousness that comes from that. So that's a possibility. Again, this is very meaningful what's happening. This could be the end result of that. Number 6, everyone on this channel then can come and visit me in my 5D kingdom. So there you go. Let's hope for that. Let's hope all this happens, and then I get to go and be in my perfect 5D world and create my perfect 5D environment, and you're all welcome to come and party and hang out and whatever, man. So that could be another result of this. Anyway, so this is a big deal, and we should watch what happens. Don't be too attached one way or another. There's no reason to be afraid. I don't have any fear. Truth is, again, if I wasn't already in my bubble, I wouldn't even pay attention to it, because I already know that humans have this technology, and if it's not humans, I already know that ETs have this technology. And so, I've seen craft before, and so I know that this stuff exists. I've seen ET craft. Not a lot, but I've seen enough to know that it exists. And so if those kinds of things, like there's some videos of these weird lights morphing, if I saw something like that, I'd go, "Oh, hi guys." Or I would go, "Oh, there's humans finally showing us what they can do." Or I would go, "Oh, look at that interesting laser show, that hologram show." I already know this exists, so it doesn't blow me away. It doesn't do anything to me. The level of experiences that I've had, there's really nothing that's going to shock me. What shocks me is how horrible human beings can be. The awakening in the awareness to how horrifically destructive human beings can be, that shocks me. But the other stuff now that's flipping people out about if I saw that, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, hi guys." Wouldn't be anything to me at all. So if we can get to the point where everybody's like that, and then nobody's freaking out and nobody's reacting, and then if it's extraterrestrials, then great. Then we're just now seeing them for who they are. If it's something more nefarious and it's human beings pretending to be something that they're not, and nobody responds, then guess what? They've completely, totally revealed themselves, and they have nothing left. They have nothing left to use to snow you, to control you, to hypnotize you. They have this. I think that's the final meaning of this, is that this means what you're seeing, because again, it didn't happen one day or every 2 days in 3 months. It's been happening every day for hours, for weeks. It means that this is the end. This is the end game. These guys they have nothing left to lose. And they are showing the only thing that they would do next would be to use this technology destructively against humans. That is the last thing that they would do. And that's one of the reasons I kind of have my eyes open on this. So don't respond. If you respond out of fear, that will work against us. So all this outrage about what is it, just like, who cares? Let's just get on with our own personal lives and our own awakening. But it's okay to watch. Watch the show. See what happens. Because something is going to come from this. And I think what will come from this, I believe pretty strongly what's going to come from this. In fact, as I'm saying, these things throughout the video, I'm getting jolted with energy. So I believe that this is going to result in a severely sped up Ascension event timeline scenario. That's my guess. But to be honest, I don't know, and I'm very interested to see what will happen. But I'm not so interested that it's going to take away from my journey. And I hope that you will see it that way as well. All right, that's enough babbling out of me. So as always, please, if you like these videos, go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe. The subscriptions is what keeps me able to pay rent and eat food and keep doing these videos, doing the work. But you can also go to the shop. The purchases on the shop regularly also help. You can support me directly, and I appreciate those of you who have. Go to support.thunderwizard.com, follow the directions. Very appreciative of all that. Thank you so much. In fact, it's because of those of you who have gone here and supported here that have allowed me to actually be able to survive this personal housing crisis that has now abated. I'm now going to be okay. As long as I have money to pay rent, I'm going to have a nice place to live for the foreseeable future. And of course, the most important thing you can do is to go to these live guided interdimensional meditations. There's another one. We just had one yesterday. There's another one this coming Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't make the live stream, then you can go to the live section on the YouTube channel and watch the ones that have been archived. But that is the most powerful thing anybody can do. If you want to, if you think there's some nefarious things going on, of course we don't know, none of us knows what's going on, but if you think that, the most powerful thing you can do to stop them is doing these meditations. If this is a sign that ETs are coming and that this is open contact that's beginning, which is a possibility, then the way to increase that is still by going and doing these live guided interdimensional meditations. So either way, it's the most powerful thing you can do, and I am appreciative to all of those of you who are doing that. You have no idea. I'm speaking on behalf of all extraterrestrials and light beings. You have no idea how powerful you are and how much you are accomplishing. You will be responsible. When the 5D Ascension event comes, you are going to be one of the people that the light beings are going to say, see that person? They brought it. They brought the 5D Ascension event because of your meditations. Thank you so much, my friends. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves, and I will see you very soon.